Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Resurgence meta here post Season 3 Reloaded is honestly incredibly competitive. There are so many great options here, and in addition to the general top 10 loadouts that I just did the other day, I wanted to break down a few additional ones you could also toss in for more Resurgence style gameplay and break down another top 5 loadouts here, more so based around Rebirth, Vondel, so on and so forth. First things first, perks and equipment's going to be the same on all the loadouts here today, and quite frankly, it's the same as always. We got smokes, knives, obviously for Resurgence are the most important, so you can get those quick instant finishes and get those pings on your radar. Perks per usual, I'm rocking Mountaineer, Double Time, Tempered, and Flex. But strictly focusing on weapons for the remainder of the video. First up here, a loadout that I haven't actually been using much of up until this past seasonal Reloaded update, the Pulemyot 762 paired with the Striker 9, both of which appear to be invisible for whatever reason. But the Pulemyot, it's been a minute since we've actually been able to talk about this thing. They nerfed it pretty hard a while ago, but then as they've adjusted the long range meta, this has slowly sort of crept back up. It's not the #1 TTK by any means, but what this does have going for it is it's decent TTK and it's easy control. Accuracy factored in, you're going to be able to have a super competitive TTK versus those other main meta options while using this thing. So I am still going for the conversion kit build here with the Bullpup Annihilator kit here. Way faster, way more aggressive than just like the slow, heavy, bogged down Pulemyot. Also is just the better one statistically. With that, I also go for the recoil reduction pad stock, some basic general recoil control for very minimal cons for an LMG here. 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic for the mid to long range based gunfights, of course. The Annihilator long barrel for better range and velocity. No added control here, but honestly, you don't even need it because this thing's so easy to use. I also go for the Spirit Fire Suppressor, better range, better velocity, better control in there too. So this thing is finally back, worth talking about, and is slowly creeping back up towards the top of the meta, which is fun to see. That as far as the Striker 9 goes here, pretty similar setup to that of what we talked about recently. Still using the ZEM 35 compensator and DR6 hand stop. I've been bouncing back and forth with the Recon long barrel for the better range and velocity versus just some high grain rounds for better range and velocity. High grain hurts your control a little bit, long barrel hurts your mobility a little bit. It just comes down to what you value more. Either way, it's all good, right? The Striker 9 just in general is great. 50 round extended mag, then I go for the factory stock as well. This is going to help out with some mobility benefits just across the board, which is nice to see. So this thing's aggressive, it kills quick, it works great as that close range option. Next up, we got another pretty fun, underrated pair, I think. We got the TAC Eradicator, then the Rival 9, or the CX9 as it could also be known. This has been buffed a little bit recently. It's, again, not going to be the #1 most broken SMG in the world, but it's competitive enough that if you wanted alternative to the Striker 9 or to those other top tier SMGs, this is one that's a nice breath of fresh air if I'm being honest here. Then also the Eradicator, it's been buffed a lot in terms of mobility lately, so it's going to be more aggressive and faster than ever. Low recoil, great initial damage range, perfect for Resurgence style gameplay up to 40-50 meters or so. This thing's going to be great, and I especially love this build because it's an iron sight based one, so you get a little bit of extra benefits out of it because of that. Spirit Fire Suppressor first and foremost, very basic. Bruin heavy support for the horizontal control, the better firing aim, stability, and idle sway, making it a lot more predictable. Conquer 70 long barrel, better range, better velocity, better idle sway as well. So again, just increasing that efficiency in the mid to long range, extending out that lethal damage range to almost 50 meters there is super clutch. High grain's going to help out with that too, alongside the velocity as well. This thing's going to have a great hit scan range there. If you've been paying attention to Aces and True Game Data's videos on that recently, it's super important to have a high velocity for that stat. And then also just the core stock on here, better control, minimal mobility cons. So this being an LMG, it's actually surprisingly aggressive. It's so easy to use and has great, damage and TTK stats throughout the basic Resurgence ranges. And then for the CX9 or the Rival 9, this thing is just mad aggressive. I love the mobility stats on this thing. So I do go for the ZEM 35 compensator per usual, decent recoil control, minimal cons to your ADS and your velo. I actually really like the BW4 hand stop on here too. I don't usually run this, but it's got great strafe speed, decent movement, ADS and sprint to fire. DR6 hand stop would work well too. It's just slightly worse strafe, but I just love the feeling of this thing in the ADS with the gunfights here. It just feels awesome. It kind of catches players off guard here and there. High grain rounds for that better damage range up to 14 meters is pretty solid for an SMG, and it's relatively easy to use. 50 round extended mag, then I go for the tactical stock. Helps out a little bit with mobility, sprint to fire, again, strafe and movement speed. So you're gonna fly with this thing. You won't necessarily fry as much as you would with like a Striker 9 or some of those other meta subs, but it's still a great choice and kind of slept on. By the way, as we are breaking down all the Resurgence metas here today, if you are new to the channel or you simply have not subscribed yet, this is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about Call of Duty, whether it's news, patch notes, meta breakdowns. It's all right here, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you enjoyed this video or if you find it helpful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. It's always really appreciated. Now, the invisible BP-50 here also pairs great with the default Striker, another great SMG choice. Its first range TTK is not going to be crazy. It's competitive enough, but then in the mid-range, this thing is especially good for a sub. Pretty low recoil, again, great mobility. And then even if you have this out and you happen to be in like a 25-30 meter range, the buffs that it's got to its mid-range and long-range damage lately make it go crazy there too. So again, I got that deadly duo of Zem 35 compensator and the DR6 hand stop. Great mobility, great control coming from those. I also go for the long barrel, extends that lethal damage range out even more, increases that velo for some mid-range there too. 60 round extended mag, pretty basic, but it gets the job done. Then I also go for the light stock here, just some basic better movement speed. I've messed around a little bit with no stock. You definitely notice that control increase though, like the recoil is definitely worse here. So you can mess around with this. If you're comfortable, awesome, go for it. Your mobility is going to feel better. But if you just want to be straight up accurate, going for the light stock or even something like the Recon series stock can be really good too. So you certainly got some choices there, but the base Striker is feeling phenomenal for Resurgence. Then the BP-50, I mean, we've talked about this thing a ton. It's just the best rifle, hands down. Castus break, DR6 hand stop because it's so easy. You can get away with some added mobility here just to help out in the close range and the mid range. And then of course it'll still beam over long range. We've got the lower 9 heavy barrel on there. It's that 4-in-1, if you will, range, velocity, control, firing, aim, stability, 45 round extended mag. And I also go for the Moat 40 stock. Nice combo of strafe speed, ADS speed, movement speed, and then also good control too. So you're getting a lot of really solid pros out of that. Love this thing. Next up, the menu just doesn't agree with previewing the weapons on the background here, but we got the TR-76 Geist, which is incredible for specifically Resurgence. This thing's first damage range or so, its mid-range is so good compared to a lot of the other rifles. Its TTK is crazy. Then I pair this with the WASP-9, which as we know is a fantastic TTK, fantastic mobility based SMG. So for the Geist here, it's going to be a relatively basic MW2 rifle setup. Spirit fire suppressor, I want to increase that velo as best I can, get some decent range and control out of that. I also go for the Bruin heavy support here. The idle sway, the firing aim stability is especially clutch on any MW2 gun, plus good horizontal control, making the gun more predictable. The bridle heavy barrel will help out with range, velocity, and control, and it's doing it pretty significantly. So this thing's actually a pretty solid barrel to be running. Surprising for an MW2 barrel to be that good. 45 round extended mag here. It's smaller than what you'd like, but this fire rate's not crazy, so it's definitely sufficient for what it is. Then I go for the 2.5 times eagle eye per usual. They're nothing too out of the ordinary, but yeah, don't sleep on the Geist. This thing is definitely up there for some of the better rifle metas within Resurgence specifically. Then for the WASP-9, pretty basic setup here. We got the Zem 35 compensator and DR6 yet again. I am going for high grain here with that better velocity and the better range there, extending that lethal damage range out even more. 50 round extended mag, and then the reflector sight. Not a fan of the irons. If you want to use a NIDAR or a slate or a glassless, whatever optic you're comfortable with, always go for that, but this thing fries, as we know. All right, folks, G Fuel has gone and done it. They've created what I would consider to be the best of both worlds, G Fuel and protein in one. That's right, we got our G Fuel energy plus protein, 15 grams of protein, 140 milligrams of caffeine. I'm about to try it for the very first time and see what I think. So 3 different flavors. They've got mocha, French vanilla latte, and then chocolate, I think is what I'm gonna try. See what it's like. All right, so I've got it in my cup of almond milk. And shake it up, mix it nice and well. Give it a try. As far as taste goes, I mean, brownie milkshake, chocolate milkshake kind of vibes. I like it. And honestly, it's solid. Not to mention, you're getting 15 grams of protein out of this, but also 140 milligrams of caffeine. Like, that's the perfect combo. As someone who, especially in recent years, has really tried to focus a lot more on my health, you know, healthy body, healthy mind, I'm always searching for solid sources of protein that are just convenient throughout the day. And I mean, fill a cup up of milk, throw in the protein powder, shake for a little bit, you get a taste like that. I'm sold. So if you're interested in trying the energy and protein mix from G Fuel, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Toss in code Immortal at checkout. You'll get a nice little discount. And then lastly here, I did want to include one sniper setup, and I'm going with the Moors. This is by far, in my opinion, the best sniper right now. You can build it out to be fast and one shot within its first damage range. You could also use the anti-material rounds and one shot at any range. I pair this with the BP-50 conversion. We know this thing fries up close, and it actually pairs really well with sniper support, you know, in that general place. style if you're using it with something like the Moors or the Cat or the Stalkers. So for this Moors setup, as mentioned, the anti-material slug rounds give me that one-shot headshot at an infinite range. I also go for the ton heavy barrel, helps out with that velocity, which we need to increase. The Razor Hawk laser sight simply for a faster ADS speed. There's not really any other attachment I need to run here between an optic, a rear grip, and an underbarrel, so why not throw on a laser there? I also go for the super light 90 stock, and then just behind the face cam, I've got the quick bolt as well. If you're looking for a screenshot, go for it there. This just helps me get those shots off faster back to back to back. But yeah, fantastic sniping option that can indeed one-shot headshot. And then the BP50 conversion kit on here goes crazy in its first damage range. Obviously, the Revenger kit is one of the 5 attachments we have to be running here. And then because of that, we're super limited on what else we can run. So I do still go for the Zem 35 compensator just to keep some control on this and make it nice and easy. The Kimura laser sight here for the faster ADS and sprint to fire, keeping things nice and aggressive. High grain rounds to extend that lethal damage range out to 14 meters. Then I also go for the Trust 4 grip tape, just some better control. It hurts your idle sway, but in this damage range, that's not going to be a huge deal. This thing does absolutely put in the work up close. And all that being said, those are 5 of the best Resurgence meta loadouts to be running right now, and that's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And of course, if you're new to the channel or you simply have not subscribed yet, be sure to hit that sub button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.